Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the M3 Market Update. My name is Melody Wright, and I do this show to give you context for the information that we're receiving out there in the housing market and for commercial real estate. And it was quite an eventful week last week. So I have a lot to share with you. I'm in a bit of a rush as I'm traveling today for a quick trip to New York City, but I want to get these details out to you. So, quickly, we did hear from Black Knight in terms of what they were thinking caused this delinquency. They called it calendar driven. They said because of the month ending on a Sunday, this is why we saw so much delinquency. I've been in the mortgage business for a very long time. The servicer's effective date, those checks, and in fact, in March, that month also ended on a Sunday and delinquency was down month over month. And so, additionally, I looked at my client book and saw that this delinquency did not cure materially. Now, with delinquency, there's always a push and pull. So, they very well could go down again next month. But because there's so many programs out there that will capture these people, get them quickly, the servicers are set up on that 36th day of delinquency. They're going to call, they're going to get them into a forbearance. There's a regular forbearance is different from COVID or a simple repayment plan or essentially start them on the modification process. So there are ways that they're going to capture this delinquency. So we'll stay tuned, but it does not change the fact that you had such a massively large increase in those 30 plus delinquencies. And that just tells you that the consumer is under stress. And that leads us right into I want to talk about existing home sales and new home sales. We got them last week and they were very disappointing to everyone. I I actually in my forecast was only about 6,000 off in the existing home sales. Again, I use Redfin data to kind of extrapolate and forecast. So, coming very much in line and now able to see these existing home sales um, before they're actually published. I'm able to get a view of them, put it that way. And so, just want to talk a little bit about those existing home sales and show you a chart that is going to show you that we have broken seasonality in the existing home market. And for new home sales, they are just in the gutter, abysmal. They've got 9 months of supply. And so they are going to, I think they got cute this month and thought they would not have to do as many price cuts as traffic sort of increased. And they thought, although sentiment was way down, I believe that many people were stubborn on the price cuts and they increase the incentives, but I think what you're going to start to see from here is the builders are going to have to cut those prices. And now an interesting thing that happened for those that you have been following this last month, existing home prices became higher than new home prices. Well, we got some revisions. That historic relationship flipped back to what we would call balance, with new home prices becoming a little bit higher than existing home prices. But then when we got June results, it flipped again. And so we have hit an all time high in the median NAR price, our National Association of Realtors, and what they track. But I would like to note that we have not reached another all time high in the median listing price. And so, it's my contention that essentially in these times of inflection, the median home price is not going to be very telling because essentially you could have somebody with $1 million home sale, somebody with 575, another at 350, another at 375. That median is going to be around 475,000. So when all that's really transacting out there are these really higher price homes. And if you follow me on X Twitter, I showed a chart that you can get from the National Association of Realtors that showed the only year over year increase in sales was in that 1 million plus category. And then essentially the everything else was a decline year over year. And the smallest decline was in the 750,000 to the million category. So I think what's happening out there is that there was a lot of stock market sentiment with NVIDIA. People started looking at their 401k balances and we're getting a little excited, those in sort of the top 20%. But I think as they came to the table, they realized that this purchase was not going to make a lot of financial sense when you look at increases in insurance and property tax and just the general cost of home ownership. And so, guys, this led to existing home sales to be the lowest in June of this series. And so, I think you guys know that I've been tracking the season and the seasonal arc. And so, from now that I have these 25 years of history, that's how we're going to talk about it. And we're going to look at the past Junes, the past Julys, to really understand where we are and if we're veering off the season. And that indeed is what's happened here. Combined sales. So I look at new home sales plus existing home sales. We're at their lowest in the 25-year data series that I use. And so for emphasis, that's lower than 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. And that's on an absolute basis. That's the number of sales. Now, what I want to say here is you think about that population has increased. Excuse me. A lot of people have been talking about immigration, yet absolute sales are lower than they were in 2008 in June. Now, this could be because we are seeing more transactions outside of the traditional system, outside of those multiple listing site services, the MLSs, outside of realtors, that could be happening. And so sales could be a bit higher, but directionally, both new home sales and existing sales were very low. And I'm going to share my screen. And sorry, guys, it's still a bit early in the morning here, and I am not speaking so well at the moment. But let's get this up and let's just go over some of these details. I just want to show you where we're seeing the biggest increases. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen out there. Keep trying to make this a little bit bigger. But looking at my cities, year over year, sales were down 14.33% and down 9.57% month over month. The 25-year average for sales month over month in June is 8.69% from May to June. And so this was far off the seasonal pattern. So typically every year you're going to see sales, no matter what is happening, increase from May to June. So I cannot emphasize how crazy this really is that we have seen such a huge drop in June sales. And guys, people talked about inventory forever. And the reason is there's no inventory is because of the speculation and the holding of the second homes. And those trends are starting to change, and you're starting to get motivated sellers because they simply cannot afford to hold these homes. And so we've got inventory still up month over month, 1.48%, and year over year, 29.19% in the 80 cities that I track. And guys, what's happening, we're supposed to be peaking out in June in terms of inventory. That's what's supposed to happen. And you definitely see in these months, and what we're seeing in the cities is that it's slowing from that very rapid pace we saw in the spring when people were, just listing things. However, what's a bit crazy, and I'm going to be working on when I get back from this trip, some rate of change analysis, is that we're still adding inventory. We're still growing inventory at a time when we should absolutely be seeing less and less inventory. And in many cities all over the country, not just in Florida, not just in Texas, California, North Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, Idaho, all over the country, you're seeing the highest listings that you have seen since 2019. And so that tells you guys, I think, how much distress really is out there, as well as just people needing to make good decisions. But I'm also hearing more and more about sales that just are not happening with realtors. They're not happening in getting, recorded with NAR. So that means we don't even know about them. So I just want, with everything that's going on with National Association of Realtors, NAR, there are going to be a lot of noise in these data series that it's going to send up some false signals. So we're going to have to use our eyes as well as look at the data. And hopefully soon I'll be getting back down to Florida. But just generally looking at sales, where you saw the largest year-over-year declines, were in the Northeast, which is interesting, the South, but the lowest in the West, but where you're also seeing the biggest month-over-month declines in the West. California, I think, got really hot. It was a combination of both what I think, stock market sentiment and mania, as well as, and I think this will bear out in the data. We've heard a little bit about it. We've heard about foreign buyers decreasing. I believe that in California, we probably had some motivated foreign buying selling, but I'm still working on proving that out. Stay tuned. Okay, so what I really want to show you, the most important thing, is actually this chart here, the combined sales chart, because this again, these are absolute numbers. These are actual numbers. These aren't, kind of looking at this is what it would look like. No, these are actual numbers. And what you can see is, last year in 2023, which is the yellow line, we kind of went up and down over this 2008 trajectory. But as you can see here, we have been sort of right along that 2008 trajectory, and now we are dipping below it. And so, guys, 1 month does not, of course, a trend make, but this is a bit crazy to see sales this low. And I need everyone, again, it's not 2008. Everyone out there is saying the economy is great. Except for a few people. And those of you that watch my show know that I think that we've got a lot of underlying weakness. So, affordability is definitely, for the longest time, I think the media wanted to mask, essentially affordability and say that that was an inventory issue. That's not what's going on, guys. I'm working on another analysis that actually takes median income, as well as median price in all these different cities. I have that, and it's just ridiculous. And so there is just no way the top 20% can carry the entire housing market. The rich stay rich because they often make very good decisions about expenses. And it does not make any sense for someone to carry these crazy costs of home ownership on multiple properties. Not only that, you're having to pay in Miami. I heard that they're paying their head maids $150,000 a year. And so that just doesn't make any sense. And when you look all over the country, where median income and all of the, not just on an aggregate basis, but in these cities, median income in no way supports those prices, then, things will start to happen. There just aren't enough New Yorkers, there aren't enough Californians. And so that's really what I want folks to understand. And I think what you're seeing is a complete strike from the consumer right now. They are, the University of Michigan consumer sentiment came out, cinnamon sentiment came out, and this is the worst in the series history, um, for people saying it's a good time to buy a home. It's at the lowest in the series history. And so, guys, it's really abysmal out there in the housing market. But I think that, this tells us that we are seeing that delinquency, as well as these abysmal home sales, tells us where the consumer is, and inflation has broken them, in my opinion. So, hey guys, thanks so much for joining me, all the support. Thank you. I want to do a little plug for Doomers News Network. This is a venture that I've been doing. We do a live show every week where we do This Week in Doom, which is a review of all the important stories you're getting out there, but with a deeper dive into it. We try to really give you the unvarnished truth and dive beneath those myths, like the inventory myth in housing. Yes, there's inventory mismatch and there's a lot of speculation, but there is a lot of inventory out there. It needs to be priced right. And when it's priced right, I'll let you know. That way, those of you that have been waiting on the sidelines can get back in the market. But we're in my opinion, we're in a very important inflection point, and barring an exogenous event, we are rounding the corner We have, in my opinion, the Titanic that is the housing market, is just about to complete its turn, and we will be going down the other side of this crazy time. So, but as I was saying, Doomers News Network, we talk about things like inventory data. We dive into it. We give you all the facts and the math to show you what's really happening because, somebody has to, and mainstream media does not. So check us out on YouTube at Doomers News Network. Otherwise, if you have a question or want to reach me, the best way is to at me on X Twitter at M3 underscore Melody, Melody. You can also reach me if you sign up for the free M3 Melody Substack. You can reach me there by email and, of course, here on YouTube. So thanks, guys. Sorry this was a bit rushed, but hopefully this gives you a little bit of information about what's on out there. It's a little crazy. Have a good week, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much.